So something interesting happened the day I realized that I'm an adult. You know, it's so funny that we are adults and we operate as adults, but we have these moments when you actually realize that you really are in charge of your life and you really are an adult. So this is what happened to me. I traveled, I was in New York, and I traveled on my own solo. I love solo travel. By the way, I think it's one of the best things that you can do for yourself when curfew and borders and COVID is over. I think you should really plan a solo travel trip. Whether you're traveling within the country or outside the country, it's definitely worth it. So I traveled to New York and I was on my own. And I got hit on by this guy at this restaurant that I was at, and they had really great food, and we were sitting at one of the things I do, because when you travel alone you don't get a table on your own, so I sat at the bar so that I can at least enjoy my meal, and there's action, people moving around, and the barman's there, and I can always get my drink within a minute. So it's a great place for you to sit, especially when you're alone and you don't look weird, right? So this guy comes and he was sitting next to me, and we ended up in a conversation, and the next thing we exchanged numbers and we start communicating, and he asks me out on a date. And I was like, okay, yeah, cool. He seemed interesting. We didn't talk for too long, but he told me that there's this jazz place that plays jazz, and I really like, I'd always wanted to go to this town. What do you call this town where like jazz was born? And when he told me about this place and they have live jazz and they play like the oldies, I thought, that sounds interesting. Yeah, that sounds like a nice date, right? So I go for this thing, and I go for this date. It was like in a couple of days, so we meet up and we go to this place. And when I go in, first of all, the place is packed. So they were asking us for reservations. We didn't have reservations for dinner, so they said that yes, for the live band, that section, we can stand, but we won't be able to get a table because it's all booked out. I was like, okay, dude, you should have prepared. But anyway, let's listen to the jazz. So listened to the jazz. It was really, really great. I loved the music. Unfortunately, we had been late, so I felt like, we missed out like half of the show, because again, he didn't know the exact time that it begins, so we were late. So again, prepared much? No. Anyway, so after that, we ended up going to this other place. He says that he knows this other place that has good food. We can sit down and eat. And at this point, I'm beginning to feel like 2 struggles in a day. I'm beginning to already think, yeah, okay, yeah, I hope there's more to this conversation, because again, we didn't talk much with this loud jazz and a lot of people in this crowd, so I didn't get to really talk to the guy. So we go to this restaurant, and at the restaurant, the first restaurant that we go to, forget the jazz place, like we go to this other restaurant, and this restaurant was like closing early. They were about to close, so we have to find another restaurant. Now at this point, we've started having conversations, because as we're walking towards these restaurants, we're talking, and I started realizing that this is not somebody I'm enjoying talking to. And maybe it's also tainted by the fact that, there's just been a bit more drama than I wanted on a nice jazzy evening with just dinner and a nice conversation. Now it turned out to be late for jazz, didn't book a table. Now we have to walk to a different restaurant. I'm not exactly wearing the most comfortable shoes for walking. And then now from that restaurant, we've got to go to another restaurant. And when we get to this other restaurant, which he says is his friend works there, so we get there, and I'm wondering, I sit down for a bit and I'm listening to the conversation. His friend comes, says hi. I'm not enjoying this. Like, I'm sitting there and I'm really not enjoying it. And at some point I just he wants to order a bottle of wine, and I said, no, I'll just get a bottle of water. Because at this point I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do, right? So this is what I did. I go to the bathroom and, excuse myself, go to the bathroom and go look at myself in the mirror and have a candid conversation with myself, where I say, I'm like, Jacqui, are you enjoying yourself? No. What would you rather be doing? laundry. Like seriously, the moment that came, I was like, I would rather be washing my clothes and listening to music and or watching something on TV. Like I really just would rather not be here. And that's when I made the decision. I said, you know what, life's too short, you need to get out of here. So I go back downstairs. I had my jacket and my bag still on the chair. I pick my jacket, I put it on, I pick my bag. At this point, he's looking at me, he's wondering, am I going to sit with my bag and my jacket? Like, what's going on? And I just tell him, hey, listen, I need to go. And I'm like, thanks, it's been nice, it was nice meeting you, but this is not working out for me. And I start walking. Then he says, where are you going? I said, I'm going to find another place to eat. And he said, no, I can come with you. I'm like, no thanks. And I left. And let me tell you, I walked out whistling to myself. I was so happy that I had walked away from a situation that I wasn't enjoying. And here's the thing, life really is too short. I would have sat there, had dinner, not enjoyed it, gone home, kicked myself, and like, why was I still there? Why did I still wait? I'm so glad that I made that move that made me feel like such an adult. Because being an adult is really about making decisions that are best for yourself, not decisions that are based on anything else. I didn't even know I would ever make this video. Like, I was just like, you know what, I'm not going to waste this good makeup, so I might as well do a video. And I was like, yeah, I remembered this situation, and I thought, you know what, let me share this with you, because maybe somebody's in a situation, you're in a situation where you're thinking of leaving, or you're in a situation where you're not enjoying yourself and you feel obliged to stay for other people. Don't. Make the decision that's best for yourself. When you're in a plane and the air hostess tells you that in case of lack of oxygen or drop in altitude, put on your mask first before helping somebody else put on their mask. It's take care of yourself first before you can even take care of somebody else. Because you won't have energy or the resolve or the oxygen or the brain power to take care of somebody else when you don't take care of yourself. So take care of yourself first. Those situations, just walk out, be polite, and just say, no, this is not working for me. I felt really good not even having to lie. Like when he asked me, I said I was going to go somewhere else to eat. And I did. I went and I found this really cool oyster bar. And it was fantastic. And the oysters were being served by this like tattooed guy. And I mean, it was so amazing. The vibe was great. It was right next to where I lived, like within a few minutes walking distance. And it was just enjoyable. I was enjoying one of my favorite foods. And I was enjoying the vibe. And I felt that, wow, I really did this for me. Like, this is growing up. This is being an adult. So yeah, so take care of yourself and be the adult. Take care of yourself first before you can help somebody else put on their mask. See you next time.